welcome to Evil Popcorn. I am Scream Queen, and I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts.
Mhm.
Uh,
This
Either
is
one of you.
Mr. Popcorn. This is Mr. Popcorn, keeping it bloody. Baron, how are you?
I'm well, Mr. Popcorn. Thank you. Hello, it's the Baron here, recording another lovely Australian horror film set actually in our hometown of Brisbane here.
Indeed.
Yeah, right in Brizzy. So the film that we're going to be talking about today is called Bliss of Evil. And this is a pretty recent horror film. It came out in 2022, October 2022.
Okay.
It's available on Prime as well if you want to watch it. Uh, so the let's
And
let's get into
um
the details. Oh,
and
yes.
Tubi as well. Tubi in
Oh,
Australia. That's
yes.
how
Yeah,
I watched it
I
today. Yeah.
watch I watched it on Tubi with ads.
Oh, lovely. There you go. So this film is by Pieces of Work Production, and they describe themselves as creating a new generation of Ozploitation cinema. So a nice little follow-on from Long Weekend,
hmm
which is
hmm
fun. So this is directed by Josh Morris. The writing credits are Corey Hinchin and Josh Morris as well. And I'm pretty sure, wait, I think that is missing someone. Also, uh, Damien Damien Hussey as well is maybe one of the producers on this film. So they're sort of part of Pieces of Work Productions. And this film is about a engineer who is forced to confront her trauma when she and her girlfriend are trapped in a recording studio by a shadowy killer. Ooh la la.
Ooh.
Yes. And the cast. So the lead,
hmm
Isla, is played by Shani Tones. Nick, her girlfriend, is played by Shanae DeMarco.
Who I've
Jamie,
worked with.
oh, amazing, is played by, so Jamie is Isla's best friend, played by Michaela DaCosta. Lee, who is a new bandmate, is played by Jordan Schultz.
Who I've worked with.
Courtney,
I think I have as
yeah.
well. He was really familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
this cast is extremely local. Like I also knew people in this film, which was very fun
Okay.
surprise.
Yeah, yeah, it was
Um,
all a surprise. Absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. Courtney, who plays the groupie, I believe,
hmm
is
hmm
Shania
Hmm.
Aston. Roy, who's one of the band members, played by Brendan Berman. And the killer, Bloodface, is played by Corey
Bloodface.
Hinchin, who is one of the writers
Bloodface.
and creators of it.
Okay. Okay.
And Rhea is another band member who is played by Emily Rowbottom. Yes, so
hmm
pretty stacked lineup there. I also found really interesting one of the producers, Lauren Shaw, has her PhD in psychology. So they sort of
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
utilized that. It's got a bunch of horror film fest awards under its belt from sort of all over the globe. It won Best Feature Film at Horrific Hope, Best International Feature at The Thing in the Basement, Best Horror Feature Scream Queen, Best Performance by a Lead at Horrific Hope. Like it's just got a whole bunch. The budget of the film is $15,000. So we
Yeah.
are talking indie film, but I think that number is pretty incredible considering
Yeah.
the the,
And I
the
believe I
film.
believe it was shot in just under 2 weeks.
Wow.
Do we know how much it's made as of now?
Ooh.
No. That is
It
a
didn't say on
great
any of my
question.
research either.
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't
Just
find
curious,
that.
just curious.
Hmm.
And thank you to Holdfast Public Relations as well for bringing this movie to us. Yeah, and I just flagging, I'm gonna say some content warnings. So if you like to go in completely blind and you don't
Sure,
need them,
sure, sure.
skip. But there's a pretty hefty sexual assault content warning for this film as well.
He
Um,
Hefty's a good word.
yes, very hefty. Um, So yeah, let's
Yeah.
get into it.
Yeah. Talk to us.
I'd like to start by saying just like what our general vibes were for the film. What do we think?
Okay.
Want to go first, Barry?
I'll go first. Yeah, I'll go first. I'll go first. So it really does feel through the entire run like an indie film. The lack of budget is apparent. Obviously, they've shot somewhere they could get really cheap. There's not a lot of additional props added to it. Like we see, the costuming is probably what the people were wearing on the day. We don't see an awful lot of special effects makeup. There's one shot later in the film with a wound from a shotgun, and there's some fake blood, but apart from that, there's not an awful lot of makeup. So I think it really does embody indie filmmaking or student filmmaking, which is nice to see a feature student film or a feature indie film that's now being seen internationally.
Yeah, I believe this is Pieces of Works Productions' debut feature
Okay.
as well. Yes, Mr. Popcorn.
You are very diplomatic, Baron. I love the way that you are diplomatic in ways that I wish I could be, because I'm not here to shit on anything. It's certainly not local people's work or indie productions, student productions, etc. I had issues with the film. Yeah, I had issues with the film. It wasn't an enjoyable experience for me. Saying that, well done getting a piece of work out there. Absolutely. I'll just say that for now. That, yeah, it was a bit of a rough watch for me there, Screen Queen. Yeah. What about you?
Interesting. I don't know if I have as strong an opinion about it as that. I was surprised by it, I think, is a good word. I didn't, I don't watch a lot of indie films. They're sort of that's just sort of something that this podcast has sort of brought to me, which I'm very grateful for, because there's a lot of great indie films out there. So I was sort of surprised at how sort of engaged I was. Yeah, so I don't know if enjoyable is the word, considering some of the subject matter. But I was engaged, and I was intrigued by the sort of tension of the story. But again, there are a few issues I have, but I thought it was a pretty impressive feat, considering, and I thought there were some really nice elements. Yeah.
I will put an addendum saying that it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not entirely terrible or anything like that. And there were some moments, absolutely. Yeah, before we go deeper into it, yes. Yeah, because it's not anything to do with the budget for me or special effects or anything like that, because I totally
absolutely
get that. And that stuff wasn't irksome. Those production elements were, some of it was actually, yeah, okay, that's done all right. When it got into the action without dialogue, I'm doing my best not to be harsh. That I preferred that more. I thought the killer was quite effective, because when children of the popcorn out there, we're not going to do a plot walkthrough for this one. We're just discussing it in general, because we've done 3 this week. Yeah, 3 episodes this week. Yes, so it was more the writing and the character interactions, and some of the logic, especially spatial logic, was a bit what the fuck in this movie, yeah? And that's just not really going over your script properly. Yeah, that's nothing to do with how much money you've got. Yeah. So that's that's the nature of the issues I had with this. If that makes sense, if that clarifies it better.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, let's sort of start. I mean, I guess one of the most sort of gripping moments is like the very opening scene. The cold open for this film, I feel like, is quite something. What are our thoughts on that?
Could you just go over it in a nutshell detail again there, Screen Queen, please?
The plot of the film, or
no,
the
just the cold open.
Oh, okay. So we meet the killer straight away. From the get-go, we see our first sort of violent attack that happens. He's sort of picking over which weapon he's going to use, screaming girl on the floor.
Classic, yeah.
And that's sort of how we intro into it. And there's a man tied up on a couch as well. She's shouting for him to wake up. And then the killer sort of fakes his suicide, makes it look like suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you. I thought it was all right. Yeah, no, I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
It caught my
It's a good
attention.
opening.
Yeah, no problems with the opening. It caught my attention. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're sort of introduced to the sort of the strange tone of this killer in this opening shot as well, seeing him sort of like picking over his weapons. He's got these gloves, these leather gloves, and he's very what's the word? He's gesticulating very strongly. And I was just like, who is this guy? There's sort of, I guess, like a playfulness to it, which I found interesting. And then we jump. Not going into a plot breakdown, but then we meet Isla, and she has a broken arm. Something has happened where people are treating, like, a sort of coddling her in a way, and her girlfriend Nick is part of the band, and they're going to rehearsal. Like I said, Isla is a sound engineer, so she's doing that sort of work for the band, and we know that their past band member has killed himself, and that's sort of where we fall. Is dead. Yeah.
Yes, is believed to be dead.
They don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did put a note here at this point: band sex hexangle. So they all seem to be kind of hexangle. Instead of a triangle, it's a hexangle.
Oh, okay.
Like they all seem to be joined, at least tenuously. I mean, it's nice, and it's nice to see some queer relationships in there as well, rather than it just being heteronormative.
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I found one of the reviews I saw quite interesting. Someone had been like, I don't really believe the whole lesbian thing. Isn't this set in the 90s? And I was like, what do you mean? They were just like, it wasn't really that cool to be gay. So this is a period. Okay, saying a period horror is okay, maybe a stretch, but it is set in the 90s. But I think I did see someone describe it as retro-ish, which I think is probably a pretty good description, because I didn't realize
90s,
I didn't realize it was set in the 90s until about halfway through the film.
They didn't lean into the retro though. They did not lean into
I agree. And that might be intentional. But it's a convenient way to not have any access to cell phones.
Mobile phones, email, Snapchat.
And that's when I realized. I was like, she was like, call 000, and I was like, just use your phone, like. Then I was like, oh, is this in the night? That's why they're wearing flannels. Okay. And I was caught up. I don't know if anyone else had that experience watching it.
No, I caught that it was based on a true story from 1997.
Oh,
I didn't catch that.
I wasn't paying attention. 1997 is basically the 2000s anyway.
It's yesterday.
Yeah.
No, but they did well. Sorry, so they did well coming out from 2022 as well as 90s is very retro among the youngins. It's hip.
Yes.
So good choice.
It is.
Sorry.
Maybe that's why I struggled so much, because 90s fashion has made such a comeback. And like, this is just how people dress. But this is, it's not actually, it's based on the experiences of the writers. I think Corin, yes. Corey?
Corey.
Yes, Corey, not Corin. was in a few bands and sort of
Okay.
had heard a lot of
Well,
stories.
mhm.
Um,
On
and
that
it's
note,
inspired by.
on that note, then, what did we think of the band? You know, the representation of a band, a 90s band or a 90s retros band of now, which is kind of both. Yeah. What do we think? What did we think it was presented well, realistically? Did we buy it?
They were all too friendly.
You think?
Yeah, they were all too friendly.
I think they were all kind of assholes. Um, but yeah, I guess there was maybe missing a little bit of a roughness
Yeah.
that you might expect.
Mm,
Al-
I don't
Although,
know.
although they know someone that owns a recording studio. So these could all be GPS school kids that have decided they're going to create an edgy band to to go alongside all the garage hits from Nirvana and all that sort of stuff. But they're not actually edgy, but they're trying to be edgy.
yeah,
They're faux edgy.
yeah. There's definitely that
What do you think,
element.
Miss Popcorn?
I think I agree with the Baron there, that the faux edginess, and I think it's kind of intentional as well, thinking about it now, because we've got the killer and he stands out. I mean, they reference him, his ability, his talent all the time. And
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
shown that we're shown that he does possess a certain enigmatic quality that the other people don't. Yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah. So yeah, no, I'll buy that. I'll buy that because they're very tropey. They're very tropey, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because, the redhead, you've got that, she's the experimental up for whatever chick. We've got the asshole stoner, which was, yeah, an interesting choice. Um, yeah, but I'll go with what Baron says. I'll go with what Baron says. It gives them more legitimacy, I think. Yeah. Yeah, and retro 90s throwback band or 90s band, it was okay. I'll say it was okay. Yeah. Yeah. They were assholes though. I'm leaning more with Scream Queen on that. They're more assholes. Like the Lee guy, not good.
oh God, Lee.
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
it makes you think like, what's Nick's deal? Because she's Isla's girlfriend, but
Mm.
and she's the front woman of this band. Um, and she just like found this random guy and she like really wants to hit the big. Like that's what she said. She's like, I don't want to just be popular in Brisbane. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
guys, I want to be
yeah.
popular, you
I,
know.
I reckon she
Oh,
I reckon she put up a post on like a bulletin board somewhere that says guitarist needed.
Hmm.
And he was the only one that applied.
maybe. But I just think considering what unfolds, that is kind of insane. And I'm like, what does
Yeah.
she like what does she really want? Does she because she like they make very clear at the start, she's like, I don't care about the band, I don't care about music, I care about you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But is that true?
Um,
Yeah. I'm like maybe they just wanted us to they wanted to make the characters a little bit disposable. Um,
um, and
I
Possibly.
don't know.
and to get a new band member not long after, would you agree that it was not long after the sexual
Oh,
Yeah.
assault? Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's still got her cast on. Like that's the thing. Like,
Precisely. Um, but that was back to what I was saying at the start. A lot of the reactions to stuff that happens, yeah, the emotional dynamics of the characters and how they react to events are a bit kind of a bit empty, a bit lacking of substance, and that fucks with the
I
temporality. Yeah.
I
yeah.
think I think my biggest problem with the film now, while we've been chatting, it's been sort of percolating away in the back of my head. I think they rushed too quickly to make the film. They probably
Mm,
would have done them
mm,
well to shoot another week and do a couple of additional takes of each shot. Maybe the director's a very fresh director, hasn't directed anything before, and
mm,
didn't get them to maybe
I think
access
that
their
may be the
emotions.
mm,
case.
mm.
Maybe a couple of
Um,
things, but
So like I think they rushed it. Like if they'd taken their time, slowed down, taken a breath, done a couple of different takes, maybe worked
Looked
with the
over the
actors a little bit
script
about,
more. Looked over the script more,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
So there's a couple of moments in the script where a character says something and then about 30 to 45 seconds later, someone else repeats it out of nowhere. And it's like, that's weird. Like I can see it on the page, but we shouldn't be able to see it in the speech.
Yeah. Nicely put. Nicely put.
Um,
Um,
yeah.
hmm.
And I will, now that kind of we've got to that point, like the sexual assault went on too long.
So long.
Yeah.
That was my big issue.
Yeah.
I was
After
I
you.
was just gonna say, like, I understand it's a big it's sort of like the core of Isla's emotional journey, and like it's this big reveal of the trauma that she went through, but you can imply sexual assault.
Yeah.
And it like people know the significance of that without having to see it go on or hear it go on.
Yeah, in that scene, all you had to do was close the doors and pan away.
Yeah, or do some cool horror stuff. You know what I mean? Like just have some cool like visual thing, like the doors and the music. Like that's literally all you needed. I totally agree.
Yeah. I mean, I get what they were trying to achieve. You could tell that with the concealing, of the doors, And I wouldn't have been angry holding on it for a bit, but it was like I didn't count, but like it was 2 to 3
It was
minutes.
like 2 minutes. Yeah, it was a lot. And the sound design, I will say, for this film was quite crisp. And I think it and look, I maybe that's where they're going, and I know that I'm not a very like extreme, that's not my vibe, like watching movies, so like maybe that is an element as well, but I also think, and not to be this guy, but I do think like there weren't that many women involved in the production of this project, which does make me a little bit suspect sometimes.
Yeah.
But I do think that Isla was a really strong character.
Yeah.
So like
I'd
that
agree.
could be, that sort of helps their case. And I think Shani Tones, who plays Isla, in my opinion, did a phenomenal job with what she was given. So I think
it's only Lauren Shaw who had any power. Like there are females on the crew, but the one producer is Lauren and listed as executive producer, which in my mind, based on my knowledge of indie films in Brisbane, is probably just someone's mum or auntie or grandma that gave them all the money and had no creative control.
I know Lauren Shaw is part of the production company, and she's the one that's the psychologist that did sort of consult. So I think she did have quite a creative hand in it. I'm not too sure. I listened to one interview, so I'm not I could be speaking out of my ass right now. But that's sort of the impression that I got. But I don't think she has story credit. Or a writing credit. It was just sort of the like psychological, probably more the killer as well.
There was the groupie was spouting some pop psychology.
That's true.
I mean, like that's based on a character, the pop psychology, but I could tell there'd been a little bit of note taking in that moment.
Yeah, I did enjoy that.
I liked her little twists. I liked her little twist as well. She's smarter than she seems as well by the end of it as well, and certainly more proactive than the others by the end.
I think she's probably one of the more interesting characters. Because she's just sort of this groupie, and then she's like, wait, guys, like it makes no sense that Lee would be the killer. I kind of love that.
But just to probably finish off, I'd say on the SA scene. I get what they were going for, with the obscuring rather than the seeing, but part of the problem is as well, though. I don't think, as an aside, I don't think you should go for an extreme take on a first or initial, like outing, like a foray into making film. You've got to be really careful. You got to really know what you're doing before you even touch it, in my opinion. Like all things. Yeah, it was the emotional, it was the reactions afterwards when they found the killer. Yeah, spoiler, we'll say it now. We're not going plot through plot. I don't think we've actually said it, that the ex-band member who they thought had committed suicide, they thought was dead. He is not. Yes, you can see him behind Baron there.
Yeah.
That's your ex-band member. I forget, what was his name?
Bloodface.
Yeah, Bloodface.
Bloodface.
Yeah, Bloodface, yeah. And he's way more talented and sexy and mysterious than any of the other band members by far. Yeah. But the way they reacted,
and a leather jacket.
he's all in black. The way they reacted to finding him raping their friend, yeah, didn't really sell it for me at all. And then you've got the band member, and she's got a cast on her arm, and she, and you needed to build into the plot overall, rather than just reveal it at the end, because what was shown before, there were no hints of that, clues of that whatsoever. You know what I mean? So if you're going to have an extreme moment, you've got to really think about it. It's got to be interwoven into everything to really sell it. Yeah, I get what they were going for. It wasn't bad intent behind it. Yeah, but yeah, not enough work to sell it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually, and this is quite a slow burn film, I'll say as well. Like, I feel like, which is sort of what Mr. Popcorn is getting at. Like, the big horror stuff really comes in at the end, and I mean, they start you off quite with a bang, and then it's like quite slow burn throughout the rest. And I actually personally enjoyed some of those moments of like the little things, because I don't think you need to like, there was this really beautiful moment, I think one of my favorite parts of the film. So this song is a motif. Bliss of Evil, the namesake song, is a big thing, because, also just to clarify, I think the killer, so there was this really successful guy in the band. He left to become a big hit or something like that, and they filled him in with the killer guy. Is that right? Or then the killer killed that, really pretended that the really talented guy committed suicide.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's sort of there's a character, the guy that is dead at the end, or at the beginning, is one that we don't really meet, but he's murdered by the guy that they found to fill in the band, the creepy guy. That's so complicated. I don't know if that made it any less confusing. But there's this beautiful shot where they're looking at the set list. They're like, what's next on the set list? And they're like, oh, it's Bliss of Evil. And then everyone's like, oh my God, Bliss of Evil. How did that get in there? And there's this really, I like the reaction of that. And whether it was like perfect is a different story. But there was like a tension that I found quite compelling. And then they're like, we don't have to play it. Like, we don't have to. And her best friend's like, yeah, don't play it. And then she's like, no, it's fine. Like, just play the song, whatever.
It's quite
so we know that the song has.
It's quite clearly not okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not okay. But she's like, she's just trying to. It's fine. And then what they do, which I found really cool, is they're playing the song, but you don't hear any of it.
I like that as well.
All you hear is her breathing. She's starting to have a panic attack, and all of the sound is gone except Isla. Which
so I just sorry there, Screamcon. I just got what they were doing with the breathing effect there, and then in the A film it's mirrored. That's not bad. That's not bad. Both held for too long, both held, and it needs a serious cut. But okay.
And I honestly liked in that shot where they're sort of zooming in on her sort of having a panic attack. I liked how long it was held, because I think to me
that was good.
Okay.
To me, that was them trying to like foreshadow like the information that we learned. Like it, I mean, it's like her reaction to like what's
Yeah, it
happened to
is.
her.
Yeah, it
And I
is. It
thought
is.
that was a nice seed to plant. Is
Mhm.
what I'm getting
I'd
at. And
agree.
I thought
Yeah.
that was really powerful.
Yeah,
And when she
sure,
leaves,
sure.
and
No, I'll give you
did
it. I
that
agree.
keep
Yeah.
amping up throughout the movie? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
It did kind of drop off.
There needed to be more of that.
Which
Yes. Yeah, more
yeah,
hints of that, and because it's not explicitly saying what it is either. Yes. That would have,
yeah,
that would have added a very cool element throughout.
for sure. I think that because again, when she leaves after having her panic attack, there's that very cool horror thing they do where like when you turn the lights off, there's someone in
Yeah.
the room, and when you turn it back on, this person's gone.
Yeah.
And they do that with the killer. So it's like she's got someone haunting her. But that, yeah, it's not amping up throughout the film. It does sort of ebb and flow and become less sort of visual and more just like
Yeah.
conflict between the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did
Precisely.
find that moment really, really powerful. And I think that like the performance was like very authentic. And that sort of kept me going, I guess. Like I was like, oh, now I'm really intrigued to see what's happened, because I'm like, what's this song? And so it turns out he was the one that wrote the song. This killer and this attacker wrote this song, and that's why it has such emotional significance. But that really hooked me.
If I had to pick a favorite moment in the film, that would be my moment in the film when they're playing the song and the sound. You're getting closer to her, the breathing's coming in. They haven't put any incidental music over the background of it, they haven't put any incidental sound effects other than the breathing. It's the best part of the film.
I agree. I think it was really, really strong. And I also that she does a tour of, so her uncle is the one that owns this sound studio. And she gives her best friend a tour through the studio, and it's this big long shot with no cuts, which I thought was pretty impressive. Just like craft wise, I thought it was quite interesting. And so I was really excited to see where that went as well, because I was like, oh, this is nice.
It gave us a feel for the spaces in the building.
Yeah, and I think they wanted it to feel really claustrophobic, because they just stay in this one building, and it's the whole thing, the calls coming from inside the house, like, you know, like they find that they've been chained in, all the doors are locked, so obviously this killer is with them. So that gives it a very like, the setting is tense because there's no way out and there's no way in at this stage, because they say it's like a fortress. So they really like hammer home that setting, which I thought was quite cool.
When Lee is there, when they first meet Lee and he's getting stuff out of his car, and he says, oh, is my car going to be safe here? And they say, no, this isn't a good neighborhood. It like gives you that feeling as to why the studio is as fortified as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that even the uncle says like an extra little thing about it as well.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's got a shotgun.
Expensive. That's not loaded.
Yeah. I did have a note with my note.
Hello, frozen.
So, no.
No, sorry, I was. Can you say whatever you said again?
Okay.
Because I want to know that, please.
Okay, so I've got Uncle isn't a great actor. He's there for exposition. Shotgun isn't loaded, in brackets, bet it is. And then later I've got, oh good, the shotgun had a shell in it. Told you so.
Baron, question. Was the gun better than the Wormwood gun, Road of the Dead?
The shotgun that they used in this, I believe, is a prop gun that you can buy from toy gun stores, like you can see at Supernova and Oz Comic Con. So it's the right size. It looks right. It just doesn't fire anything. It maybe it fires a gel shot or something, but it's a prop gun made to look like a gun, as opposed to a lump of timber with a pipe on it with a with a bolt sticking out of it. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool. And also their Scream Queen, while we're giving the film its flowers, my big positive is the killer. I thought the killer was portrayed
Yeah.
very well, looked cool. The performances the dude gave. What was the actor's name again?
Corey
To give him a
Hinchin.
shout out. Yeah,
Corey
nice
Hinchin,
job,
yeah.
dude. Nice job, dude. The
Very
red
menacing.
blood. Yeah, very menacing. There was a nice, good cold death stare, but also at the same time, way too much going on in his head. The blood mask was cool. I liked the oh my God, what the fuck have I done moment when he's crying to himself and punching
Yeah,
himself in the
that
head
was
and wailing.
crazy.
That was quite
Yeah.
real. That seemed quite real. Yeah, no, I appreciated that definitely.
Yeah.
When he sings the song and we get the David Lynch ghost girl of our sound
Oh,
engineer,
yes.
he was good with that as well. That was actually quite ghostly. So yeah, my big positive is definitely the portrayal of the killer. What's his name? Bloodface, Red Mask?
Corey,
Bloodface.
Bloodface.
Yeah.
Bloodface is his killer name. Okay, cool. So yeah, those are my flowers.
Very
Absolutely.
classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he said this is his first acting role he's ever done. He's
Oh,
not an
okay.
actor.
Yeah. Okay. Extra points, bonus points.
Yeah, I think that the budget sort of just came down to him just sort of falling into the role.
Yep.
And
That makes
yeah, he was
sense.
great. He said he was very inspired by Christopher Lee.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I thought his performance was great. Very interesting killer. Gross, twisted character. His mum murdered someone and he is obsessed with Isla because she looks like his mum.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's killing people, weird. And then punishing himself for it. But he's a really good songwriter with the voice of an angel. The actor, I don't know if it's Corey or Corey, so I apologize.
Well,
but
it's spelt Corey.
yeah, he wrote the song Bliss of Evil.
Oh, okay.
Shout
out. Nice,
cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also, I will give, you can see her behind me, those watching on YouTube, the character of Nick there. Her portrayal as a band member for me was the most believable. I've known
I agree.
shitloads of musos in my time, lived with a plenty.
Yep.
And she was the most believable, band type.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought she just gave a great performance. I think her, Isla, and Bloodface were standouts.
Yeah, there you go. Cool.
Totally agree.
This film's not terrible. It's a first outing. Yeah, it's a first outing.
And
hopefully they're still working on things.
Yeah.
As someone who doesn't know much about indie filmmaking, I found it quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
So yes. I think one thing about this movie for me is I hate saying, as a writer, I'm thinking about dialogue all the time. And I did think this film relied a lot on dialogue. And I think it's sort of what
Yeah.
Mr. Popcorn was saying earlier, is there was a lot of talking. I don't know if this is, I might be butchering what you're trying to say.
No, it wasn't natural. Yeah, certainly at the
Yeah,
start.
there's a lot of talking. Yeah. And I think the dialogue is, there are some really funny like quips in there, and like very like Australian, like they're just trying to like build this sort of Australian 90s, like
Yeah.
they know a lot about, I think like they're obviously horror fans, and they're trying to embed that into the dialogue as well. And like really all that to say is, I think although the dialogue was quite good, in my opinion, definitely lines here and there that I found quite satisfying. I do think that they relied a lot on it when there was a lot of visual storytelling that could have been happening, especially for a horror film. Like there were those really beautiful moments, like with the zoom in on Isla, and like the turning the light on and the killer's gone, and things like that. But I think like they really could have amped up the horror of it all, rather than having the characters sort of arguing. And I feel like we could have sort of
100%.
seen the killer navigating the building before they even noticed he was there. I think that might have been more interesting and in a good way. And then Isla maybe like picking up on things changing, because she sort of has this sort of ghost story thing happening as well.
But I mean, we do see him when they do the flashback.
Yeah.
Navigating the building and opening the door so they can then hear the two girls making out.
The flashback was and I did this, which you saw before, then I did this next thing, which they've previously discovered. It was a bit of a list approach, to that for me.
Simultaneously.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, could have like moved it forward faster. Or like even just like little things, like little creepy things shifting or moving.
And I've got to say it because you're talking about kind of spatial stuff as well, and I'm very visual, and it did irk me. So, I've given the flowers, so I've got to give a rotten egg as well. And the rotten egg moment is, I forget who else is in the room. I think it might be Nick, but they're waiting in that kind of foyer waiting area. And then the killer supposedly walks past all of them and then goes into the room with Nick. Because no, it's Lee, because Lee gets pushed out, and goes, Nick, However that works in there. But the point being, the killer, we're meant to believe that the killer has walked past 3 to 4 people to go into the room. Then Lee gets pushed out. They don't know what is happening, that the killer has just walked straight past them. Yeah, you get me?
Yeah.
That was that doesn't work on
I didn't pick up on
any
that.
possible
I'd have to go
level.
back.
It doesn't work on any possible level. Just moments like that, like, guys, just being fair, just being balanced.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel I'd be curious to see like what you would sort of pick up on a second watch. Having only seen it once.
Yeah, I've only seen it once, like today before this, literally.
Same here.
Full disclosure.
I did love that's just a storage closet. And then I'm like, it's not just a storage closet, is it? He's in there. Thought that was fun. And I was like, is this set in the 90s? And then the Groovy Gifts Rhea, the drum player, oh god.
The drumologist,
a tattoo choker. And I was like, okay, it is set in the 90s. Okay, I'm following. I'm following.
They didn't make it past the 90s either, I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think. I'm old, I don't know, but I don't think.
I did enjoy the little references to horror films as well. Like their name is Prom Night.
It's got the skull.
There's a joke about one of them's called Jamie and one of them's called Lee, and if they have a
hmm
Curtis,
hmm
it'll be a horror
hmm
film, and I
Yeah.
thought that was fun. Even though Lee was so sketchy, I just
Yeah.
oh God.
Super
I was
sketchy.
like, we already have one creep. Can we just have
Yeah.
one?
Yeah. Certainly the second time round was like, dude, what has just happened? Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like,
What has
maybe they were
literally
like,
just happened? Yeah.
maybe they were trying to be like 90s authentic, but I'm like, maybe we can leave some
Yeah.
things behind. Maybe we can leave
Yeah.
some things behind from the 90s.
Certainly with no plot advancement, or well, I guess it was for him to be the first suspect as well, to
Yeah.
lean on that because
Yeah.
the drummer guy didn't like him and all that sort of thing. He's the replacement, blah blah blah. But a little too much. There's definitely
Yeah.
moments of a little too much. So just quick, touching on the '90s thing. It's Twin Peaks. It's very Laura Palmer-esque. Might be just my reading, but what do we think of Ghost Girl? You know who I mean, yeah?
That's the actress is Eliza Allen, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I liked Eliza.
The mother. Yeah, I thought it was fun. That was sort of a fun supernatural element.
Guardian angel, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sort of, I guess it gave you a look into the killer's head, which I found quite unique, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a metaphorical echo of her, was it a dream she was having as a kid?
Yeah,
the figure bouncing on the bed, but then there was a female voice saying it's okay or something. I've seen it once today, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did say in my notes, I think the dream story came way too late. It happens like in the last like 5 minutes of the film, and then I'm like, this is too late to be adding sort of like an emotional beat to this character's arc, I think.
Yes, it's structure. Yeah. Yeah.
But it was kind of the fact. I did like at the end when she was like, no ghost, like,
yeah,
that's just, I can't remember what she says about it now, but she's like, no, it wasn't, I don't believe in ghosts. It was something else. So.
Yeah, something like that.
There is a couple of goofs that I noticed. A couple of times Bloodface is wearing gloves, and then a couple of times Bloodface isn't wearing the gloves.
Okay, thank you. Continuity officer.
Yeah, they're on and off. I liked the murder with the guitar. That was a nice. That was a
the
good
guitar string.
Kill. Yeah. Well, there's the string, and then he beats to death later on in the film with the guitar. And I've put axe murderer because it's a axe.
Nice. I did like the setting was interesting, and I think they sort of started from, hey, we have access to a sound studio. And then built the film from there.
Yeah. I reckon. Yeah, totally. Elephant Studios, I believe, is its name. I'm sure it probably exists in Brisbane.
That recording studio.
Yeah, does it?
Yeah, it's a real recording studio.
It's a real one.
Like see the actual sign for the actual recording studio in the movie.
Okay.
Nice. Nice.
So it's a good ad.
There's like I like they're talking a lot about the 27 Club, which I guess in the 90s, maybe it wouldn't have been such a common phrase.
Yeah.
I know it was actually.
Right?
And that was the kind of doing a little bit of, you remember the first Fair Street? Yeah. And it was just, this is the 90s, this is the 90s, this is the 90s for about 20 minutes. Yeah, the setup. There's a little bit of that feeling. Yeah, a little bit of that feeling going on with it.
Maybe I'm just too
it's a very 80s, 90s thing. Yeah, because I think the last big one was, no, it wasn't Cobain, it was Amy Winehouse was the last big 27 Club member. Yeah. Children out there, if you do not know, it's a thing since about Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, Amy Winehouse. I can't think of any more off the cuff there, Baron. They all died at
Alexandra Levy, Louis Chavin, Rupert Brooke, Robert Johnson, Ghazi. I've got a list on Wikipedia.
Okay, I was about to say, fuck me.
Jim Morrison, Leslie Harvey, Let's see, who would we know?
It's the
Uh,
27 Club. They all died at 27, and it kind of
yeah.
mirrors parallels signing and
Oh,
making a deal with the devil
Jeff
to become
Buckley.
a star, but this is the price you pay. Buckley, there's another one that more youngins
What
will
a
know.
Jays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of signing your name with the devil, but this is the price you pay. That's the kind of gist of it. Is that
Yeah.
fair to say there, Baron?
I would agree, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of rappers get killed at 27.
Okay.
Yeah. Lots of undetermined and motorcycle crash and drug use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
It's bigger list than I thought.
It's
Yeah, it's
not so
huge.
much a thing now though. It's not it's barely
No.
referenced now. Yeah, it's like dope.
Oh,
It's a
Jonathan
thing.
Brandis from Sequest DSV, who died at 27.
Oh, yeah.
And
No.
So
Anton
that's the
Yelchin from
27.
Star Trek. That's okay.
That's the 27 Club. Yeah.
Yeah, they make reference to that, and I did sort of I do like that as being like, I'm 27, and that being sort of Roy's motivator throughout the movie, like being like,
Roy.
shit,
Roy was something.
I'm 27. He was something. But I do like his line at the end where he sort of like sacrifices himself, and he goes, okay, I'll be in good company. He's like, I did like
Hero
that.
moment.
I was like,
yeah.
I think that's a nice little callback. And like I said, I think there were there were quite a lot of moments like that in the dialogue where they sort of come back to things that I thought was like nice. But again, like I think you could cut so much dialogue from this movie and have it be just as effective, if not more.
There was a line that I really liked from earlier in the film, and I believe it's a Roy line. Now, I will use inverted commas around this because it is a quote, so please don't come after me because one of the words is problematic, but pussy pilfering
you can say
dykes.
It. Oh, pussy pilfering dykes, yes.
Yeah. Great line.
I did
Made me
enjoy
laugh
that.
out loud.
I also enjoyed that line. Yeah, he's crazy. Roy's crazy. And I just love the look everyone gives him yeah. She stabs the killer in the dick.
Yep. Yeah,
like
yeah. He multiple times.
A lot.
Yeah.
There was a moment where I was like, oh God, is he gonna kill her? Like, is that how this movie's gonna end?
Could happen.
I would have been absolutely furious. But
no dead kangaroo. No dead kangaroo.
No
we don't get bingo in this one.
Ah, there we go. Yes.
It's kind of hard to have a kangaroo in a music studio. They have one hopping along outside.
Special effects on Ghost Girl were kind of cool.
Yeah.
Budget they had. No. I fully bought that.
Yeah. And look, maybe with like maybe with a higher budget, they could have done more cool visual shit like that throughout the film.
Always that. There's always that, yes.
But then it's amazing what some people can do, like on such low budgets as well.
Yeah.
I think we had that conversation in one of the Wormwood pods where we were talking about if they were given more money, they wouldn't necessarily have made a better film.
Yeah.
Having said that, those budgets were over $100,000. This one was $15,000, so they probably could have done with a bit more money. But not. I would say not a lot more.
Yeah.
Valiant effort. Good first initial outing. Definitely keep making more. Just keep working at it. Yeah, because it's not the worst thing in the world by far. Do not get me wrong. But
it's not Night Swim.
It's Night Swim is still contended at Children on the Popcorn for worst movie of the year, rotten egg of the year.
I do like a horror movie that has its own theme song. Like I think that's fun. And I think the song was good. Maybe I just like they do sing this song a lot. But maybe that's maybe that's the point.
There was some nice ambient soundscape work where our lead was just sitting down after she was stabbed, and there was some nice, very nice guitar ambient soundscape work there. The sound effects of like the hammer scene, the hammer kill.
Oof.
That was,
Yeah.
that was good. None of the kill scene sounds took me out of the scenes, and the way they were shot as well. They realized what they could show, and so therefore chose not to show, and hear again. So it was a good utilization of sound. Definitely.
Yeah,
They worked within their limitations.
Yeah.
I think it was a very deliberate effort to have the violence be implied just for their budget wise. And I think they did a good job of that. I didn't feel like I was necessarily like missing. I maybe you could be missing out on a little bit of violence, but otherwise it wasn't like, damn, I really want to see more hammers to the head.
A tighter edit overall would have been good, because 80 minutes is still officially a feature film. This is 133, I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
And with better dialogue and more subtle implications from visual cues, as Scream Queen is beautifully illustrated today. We would have had a nice tight piece, because you have your monster and you have your drama. Yeah. That's all there. Just make it tighter and structure it better, because you've got all the right ingredients. You've just put too much salt in at one point, and not enough pepper, blah blah blah. Yeah. If I was going to sum it up, my feelings.
Yeah, I think that puts it very well. Yeah, I did like the ending of this film.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. No problem.
Yeah. I like sort of the moment where, like, oh, the shotgun is loaded and the groupie shoots him in the chest, and she's like, what did you say about not being able to shoot evil?
Yeah.
You should have focused on, what is the lead character's name, please?
Isla,
thank you.
Isla,
sound manager, sound engineer. Should have spotted her grip on the shotgun. Yeah. There wasn't one when she was holding it up to the killer's head, because that was fully in shot. Yeah, I know I'm being nitpicky.
Oh, I didn't pick that. Okay.
She was bare, the way she was holding it. Yeah, because you had a good gun there. You had a good prop. So yeah,
it was a good prop.
Work with it a bit more. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It was weird. It was a weird location. Like, obviously they were shooting inside a proper building. It wasn't sets or anything. And I think they might have cheated that shot and then not realized precisely how far they were shooting. So the camera might have been slightly further away than they were expecting or something. I'll have to go back and watch that shot again.
It's all said with love, though, of course. As you know, out there, children.
Yeah, I mean,
on other episodes.
Like I said, I enjoyed it. So I'll put that out there, and then you guys can give the constructive criticism.
Because you always want that outside point of view. It's part of filmmaking. You know what I mean? You can't be caught. You can't create in a vacuum. This is why we do what we do, and also to get awareness of the films out there as well. Because go watch this. Yeah, go to Tubi. Go to, what was it, Prime? You were saying?
Yep. You can rent it on Prime. Yeah.
Or Tubi. We know times are tough, of course, as well. Yeah. And if you really hate ads, the flipping Chrome plug-in blocker, ad blocker, done.
Yeah.
There's no ads on Tubi. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, we'll see. I watched it on my TV.
Watch the film. Okay, smart TV. Yeah.
Yeah. So that doesn't have an ad blocker. I might have to look into that. Maybe there's an ad blocker for a smart TV.
But there you go.
But a lot of really great Brisbane talent.
Watch the film
in this
definitely.
movie
Good
as well.
to see. Yeah. Good to see stuff being done. Definitely, as always. Yeah.
And it's popping off, like festival wise, and like in the States. Apparently, they've got like a lot of attention in film festivals in the States. So
all the right ingredients, and a band horror. Absolutely, I'm absolutely in. Yeah.
And I'm a fan of a little closed quarters.
One location horrors. Yeah, shut-ins.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Do we want to give final thoughts? Does anyone have anything that we didn't touch on that they're desperate to talk about?
Let me have a look. Creepy stalker. Lee was creepy.
Oh, Lee was so creepy.
Unnecessarily creepy.
I did love his shirt though. It
Oh
said,
yeah,
everyone is entitled to my
my
opinion.
opinion. Yeah,
Yeah.
All underlined. And I was like, that's a shirt that I would have.
yeah.
So I did
I'm
appreciate that. But
yeah.
I will say with the acting work of Corey, hang on, am I saying the right? It's the
yeah.
Bloodface.
Mhm.
The scene where he's in the recording studio by himself and he like tries to wrap the cable around his neck and he's laughing and crying. That was really strong. There was some really strong
That's
work in
my
that
favorite
scene.
moment, I would say. I'm going to call that as my favorite moment for me personally. Yeah, I agree.
I found it hard to watch, but that doesn't make it
Yeah.
not good. I'm just
Yeah.
very squeamish.
Yeah. But yeah, look, I'm just going back through my notes. Pussy pilfering dykes. Why would you tape him to a chair when you're surrounded by cables?
They taped him
Going
quick.
off, yeah. Going off alone, that's a murdering. It's hammer time, axe murderer. I liked the hiding in the couch.
Okay, sure.
Oh
The
yeah,
couch
that
was
was
pushed.
fun.
That was
Yeah.
good.
Just Mr.
We
Naked,
did
a
not.
naked Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
Sorry, if you know,
we
you know.
did not
Carry on.
have those red cups in the 90s. Those red cups at the party, we did not have those in the 90s.
That's what I was
Is
thinking.
that a
Again, I wasn't
2000
around,
thing?
but
Yeah. Is that a
Yeah,
2000 introduction? Yeah.
it's a noughties or
The
teens.
The
Yeah,
Dixie
because they're very
cups.
American.
Yeah, Dixie
Very
cups, they're
American.
called. Yeah, yeah.
Soundscape went on too long with the sexual assault. Uh, good shotgun. Never hide in a cupboard. Yeah.
Well, I've got a few, just to continue on there, Baron, I've got a few notes there. Scream
Yeah.
Queen, blowjob, visual joke sucked. Mind the pun. The music agent's reaction to the rap was ridiculous.
Yeah. Over the top.
Yeah. There was no real fear of a potential stranger being in the building when that threat was first discovered. Yeah, that wasn't convincing. I must have some positive notes here. The evil, the killer was good. Does the killer have the power of osmosis? Yeah, again, that was the spatial logic. I wanted the symbol decapitation to happen. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
same
just
here.
me being a gorehound, but yeah, I wanted that to happen.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, speaking of, I did really like the opening credits. I thought they were cool.
Yeah.
Like the dripping, like sheet music and instruments and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yep.
that was.
So I get what you're saying in the sense it's like that's sort of what we were promised in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But
yeah.
next one.
Next
Yeah.
one. Next time. Absolutely. Because and use Redface, Bloodface again. Yes, you've got a potential killer icon there if you work with them properly. Yeah, keep the songs, keep the ghostly singing, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, and they in this interview I listened to, I can't remember which one it was. But they were talking about there's almost like a Halloween like
Myers vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of potential. I did interesting here. This is very horror film logic because like they're like,
HFL.
oh, he's dead. Trust me, he's dead.
Yeah.
And then he's not. But I just
Yeah.
love the police officer being like, yeah, we found the car in the water and no one would have survived a crash like that. I'm like, they could have just put the car in accelerate, like put it like and let it just roll in. Like no one had to be in the car.
Yeah.
I was like, that's terrible investigation work. Like they're like,
but it was a
we
90s
assure you.
cop. It's a 90s cop. He didn't do his job.
I mean, look, let's not get into it, but
on that
unsurprising.
On that Halloween Myers tip, do you really think you can kill evil with bullets? Or sorry, do you really think evil can be killed with bullets? Yeah, that line was repeated. Yeah, halfway through and at the end. Yeah. Yeah.
And yes, it can.
Yeah, apparently.
Yes, it can. Yes.
Or can it?
Trusty shotgun. Or can it? There we go. There we go.
I did have, I was like, surely it's not good to put other people's blood near your eyes.
No, he had a really bad case of pink eye, I guarantee it.
Yeah, I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, that's not
Oh,
good.
yeah. No.
But then people
Yeah.
do blood facials, so
Yeah,
maybe he's like
Mm.
100 years old, but
yeah.
he
Or he's actually a
just
ghost.
people just see just a mask of blood walking around, but
He's the
nothing else. He's
scourge of
like,
indie bands. He goes from indie band to indie band to
Yeah.
make sure they do not succeed.
yeah, and he
Yes.
plays those little scary songs.
Taylor
Yeah.
Swift
There was
summons him each night. Go for.
there was a thing that didn't pay off, which was there was a glitching. It was
The
like
glitching. What
static
did you think, Aaron?
glitching.
What did you think, Screenplay?
It didn't
The glitching
pay off.
effect, the big effect.
Do you mean in
being
the
used.
sound system?
No, there was a
In
physical
the car
glitch.
park, it appeared, yeah. And there was that of the frame,
Oh.
yes, and it kind of tilted, and it kind of showed, like frames on an old VHS tape glitching, that sort of thing,
Yeah,
found
right.
footage-esque, if you remember those moments. I thought it looked good, but it wasn't in sync with anything, really. No, because
it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, because we lost at the start. It was from the perspective of the killer. Okay, psychology, conveyed visually, but then we lost that. Yeah, they lost that in terms of camera work. So yeah, at the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah.
Link it to the character.
I feel like...
link it to character perspective and or action with those effects, because cool effect again, good idea. Put into the broth at the wrong time, so it doesn't get the full flavor. Yeah, really running
and
this
I think
recipe cooking metaphor, but it's working.
I think they could have done this movie with 4 characters max as well.
Sure,
I'll say
sure.
Killer, Isla,
refine,
girlfriend,
cut,
bandmate.
refine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. But it was a killer flick.
Yes. Not a pointless venture by any means.
Ratings.
Yes, indeed. And I'll get it out the way because it's going to be the least. I've got that feeling, and I don't want to be shitting on this film. And as I've discussed on a couple of episodes, people remember what they last leave with, last hear, see. So I'm giving it a 2. It's a flop corn. I was going for burnt, but I always love it when we discuss, and I feel better about it at the end of the day. It's the case again. So I won't say it's a burnt. It is a flop corn for me. It didn't work. But it didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth as getting a 1 does, because it's burnt, and it's not burnt. It's a flop corn. A 2, not a 2.5.
Okay.
A 2. Take it away. Whoever wants to.
All right. I'll go next because this is a Scream Queen led thing, and she can go last. Look, I should give it a 2, but I'm going to give it a 3 simply because they did a really good job with the resources they had. If anyone involved with it is watching or listening, and at this point, my 2 big things are: take your time, and don't be afraid to redo a scene if you don't feel the emotions will hit. And what you do next will be amazing. So yes,
nicely put.
I'm gonna
well, I'll finish off with maybe a 3.5. I think that's sort of like what I felt when I'd finished watching it. It's very satisfying, quite satisfying. I like I said, it's really surprised me. I found the emotional beats, especially towards the start of the film, to be really, really strong. I was really sort of compelled to keep watching, to see what this big reveal and what this great trauma that had happened to this man. I was really invested in the main character and her story. And I really liked it, but I think you could absolutely push the visual horror elements and like cut down the dialogue and cut down the characters and just like really shrink it to give it like that even more of like a claustrophobic feeling. There's a way to like plant those little seeds throughout rather than having all of the information revealed at the end right before the killer faces off with our main character. But yeah, I'll give it a 3.5. Very satisfying.
Nice. Okay.
Nice, nice.
Yep.
Yeah, and very good choice. Scream Queen is again, it's great
Yeah.
to be, bringing awareness to and promoting Brisbane horror, let alone Australian horror,
Yeah,
Yep.
or Australian
it's
horror
Yeah,
series.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
this was
It's our
made
second
right
one now.
here.
It's our second Brisbane horror now. Very cool.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
look,
and
someone out there will this will be their favorite film of all time. Go and see,
oh yeah,
don't just listen
of
to us.
course. Yeah.
Watch it. You might find
Who the
something in
fuck
it
am
we
I?
didn't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What do we know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I wanted
a
to
lot of
do
great talent.
some shout outs because we've been given some tickets there, people. Yeah.
Oh,
First of
Ooh.
all, shout out to Christian Fletcher of Christian Fletcher Events. You are a scholar and a gentleman, sir. Today, before we started, he gave me 2 tickets to Maxine and 2 tickets to
oh,
Long Legs. Yes, my most
oh,
anticipated for New
Oh,
Farm Cinema. Yeah, and shout out to them, of
oh,
course, my
nice.
favorite
Thank you so
cinema in
much.
town. So thank you very much for that. And also, shout out to Holdfast Public Relations as always,
yeah.
Faith Nightclub as always, and also Evil Corp whilst we're at it,
Yep.
but also Studio
Always.
Canal as well there, Baron. A couple of live tickets to Sting as well. And we have just, of course,
Ah,
covered the Roche Turners with our 2 Wormwood
mhm.
films, covering the Wormwood
Yep.
franchise. Yeah.
I'm keen to see Sting again.
I've heard I haven't seen it, but I've heard really, really good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yes, and also we that's who was this? This was Richard Warman. Thank you again, Faith Nightclub. We have a year pass to Immaculate. Yeah, if that's still planned, if that's still on. Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
just remember that there, people, and just again, thank you for that if I haven't before.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you all for helping support Evil Popcorn out there.
Yep.
Yes, we like movies and we want to be going back to the movies. We'll fight among ourselves who gets what tickets, and we'll sort it all out. Yeah, off air. Does anyone else have any shout outs since we're here? Etc. Shout
I
outs,
will
plugs, blah blah blah.
Yeah, so I will shout out as usual, Improv Queensland. I'll shout out Act React, and I have just this week, like in the last 2 days, been approached by Hush Hush Biz. They are an online reviews sort of web page place, and they want me to review some horror films, and they're happy for us to do cross promotion. So I haven't done any yet, so I'll put them up in the Facebook feed when I do them, and of course when I do the reviews, I will try to see if I can do them as the Baron rather than Scott, and do the shout out on each of those to Evil Popcorn as well. So yeah, that's what I've got.
Yeah.
Scream Queen.
Good question. Well, we hadn't recorded in a while, so I did have some things to plug, but they've been and gone.
Ooh. Oh, boo.
I had the first reading of a 15-minute play that I wrote about a girl that can turn into a crocodile. Stay tuned. Hopefully it gets put up in the next few years.
Nice.
Time and money, am I right?
Of course,
Yeah.
but well done, well done. Absolutely.
Thank
It's a
you.
feat.
Good
It's a
work.
feat. Yeah.
Second half of the year, I'm running 30-minute work. There'll be a reading for that. And there's a Backbone Festival, which is what it's part of. So Backbone Youth Arts is who's through. They're right here in Brisbane, Seven Hills.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that. It'll be happening on October, so a little while off now, but yeah.
Is that going to be at the Seven Hills Hub at
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great little theatre.
It is. The Ron Hurley
Mm.
Theatre. Yeah.
I have performed there.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Ooh,
Actually, I will mention one thing while we're still talking about Bliss of Evil. I performed with Shanae in a little short
plays
film
Nick?
called Pizza. Hang on. There we go. Yeah. So Shanae DeMarco. So that's Nick. Yeah. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yes, Nick. Yeah. I was in a little short film called Pizza Deliverance that was done by Chancellor Anderson.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which is it's a love letter to Die Hard and Shane Black and all that sort of thing. and I was in a project with Jordan Schulte, who was Lee. It's called It's a Cult, and it was a bit of a sort of web series, comedy web series. So yes.
I think I spent
but yeah,
time in a
and
tank. I spent time in a tank with Jordan. Yes, you remember Jordan.
okay.
Yeah, carrying on.
Now you said you had something you wanted to talk about someone that passed, Scream Queen.
Oh, yes. Big, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you know about it. But Shelley Duvall passed away today, 75 years old. She is a horror icon.
Scream
So
Queen.
a Scream Queen, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love The Shining. It's one of my
Mm.
favorite horror films. I think she means a lot to a lot of people. So I just wanted to sort of pay tribute to her and say rest in peace, and
Yeah,
like
Absolutely.
rest in power.
Yes,
rest
and
in
thank
power.
you.
Exactly.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I just wanted to read there's this little quote from her life partner, which I just thought was very apt. I'm not great with this sort of stuff, so I thought, why not a quote?
Yeah, please.
So he said, "My dear, sweet, wonderful life partner and friend left us. Too much suffering lately. Now she's free. Fly away, beautiful Shelley." And I just thought that was nice.
That's lovely.
So yeah, I just
Very
wanted
nice.
to
Thank you.
mention that because, you know, it's huge and she's had such a huge impact on horror and film just in general.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I first
Just
came
reminded
across her
me.
in the Popeye film with Robin Williams.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
She was olive oil in Popeye.
Yeah. Rest well, Shelley Duvall. Yes, Evil Popcorn pays tribute and thanks you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's
good episode.
That's all.
That's it.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you for the views on Long Weekend. Good choice there,
Yeah.
Scream Queen.
Done really well.
And
I really love that movie.
House of a Thousand Corpses is doing really well. Yeah, we've been putting out a lot of good stuff there, Scream Queen. We're almost at a year. August the 1st is our allocated
wow.
date for that. Yeah. And
we
we're
have to do something big.
We're reaching near 50 episodes. I don't think it'll land. I think we'll get over that by then. But but we'll have to do something. We'll have to do something, definitely. Yeah, so thank you.
For listening.
Yes, thank you, children of the popcorn, and continue to listen and watch
Appreciate it.
At Evil Popcorn Pod. Again, Google that, the whole list, where to watch, listen, and follow. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, feel free to sign out.
Okay. Well, this is the Baron signing off for Bliss of Evil. Go to bed, children. Go to bed.
And this is Mr. Popcorn signing off. I have kept it bloody indeed. Scream Queen.
And this is Scream Queen signing off. Thank you for listening. We'll see you later.